Hey guys, welcome back to Piston Head Productions. On today's episode, we are back into the Suburban. Couple things, I'll give you guys a quick update because it's been a little bit. I took the exhaust manifold off. While I was doing that, there was some carnage. A couple of the lines going to the glow plugs got broken, so I got to fix those. I did take out one of the glow plugs because I was gonna swap them out. The guy I bought it off of said that he did swap it out, but I was going to swap it out anyways. And I looked at it and yeah, you know, I definitely did. These things are like pretty much brand new, so that's good. Also, when I was heating things, these I noticed these fuel lines are pretty nasty, so I ordered a kit. It'll be here pretty soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to work and try and degrease as much of this as possible. With a lot of the stuff that happened, things got real nasty in here. So part of it's that exhaust, or this fuel return leak, as well as with the exhaust leak, things just kind of cooked on. So stuff like this is going to get washed. How am I going to do that, you might ask? Well, in my former life, I worked in kitchens, and while I was there, someone actually gave me one of these. It's a hot, it's like a hot bath basically. You can put containers in it, keep sauces and shit hot. But this one still worked, and I use it for parts cleaning because it gets hot. So the nice thing is I can put parts in here, let them soak, let them warm up. This is actually just an old brush from the winter, but I can kind of scrub away parts, let them soak in it. And yeah, so I've got some cleaning chemicals in here. Don't need to name brands, but some basically in some dish detergent. So I'm gonna soak down the turbo and anything that's super greasy, and then slowly work away at that. Also want to get the exhaust manifold back on. I got some new bolts. One of the things that I was told is actually to switch to grade 5 bolts as opposed to the grade 8 studs and stuff that were in there. The reason being is the grade 8s are really good under heat, but the issue is, oh, I just found something. Ha! Where did that starter? It's missing the ground. That's interesting. That's super fucking interesting. Anyways, I have to look into that. But long story short, the grade 8 bolts, they have an issue where they don't heat, or when they get hot, they don't expand, and they crack manifolds. So thankfully mine's not cracked, but the guys say throw just grade 5 on. Even if you got to swap the bolts out every couple years, it's better than cracking a manifold. So that's what I'm going to do. So basically that's going to be today. Clean up these parts and then hopefully get the manifold back on. And then go from there. So everything's kind of soaking down. I'm going to start the assembly as I try and get this set up. I'm going to get the oil drain back in, scraped off the gasket. I'll see if I can get another gasket for it. If not, RTV works just fine. So start with that and start putting it all back together again. Okay, so I got the manifold on, kind of. I got some bolts in there and some of the old studs because I mismeasured and grabbed the wrong fucking bolts. Welcome to wrenching. So I guess go back to cleaning for now, and then I'll have to grab some new bolts tomorrow. Okay, things are starting to look pretty good. Turbo is getting nice and shiny. This hot bath is getting pretty warm. This intake pipe's pretty much there. Heat shield is pretty much there. So I might just wire wheel that from now on, but yeah, definitely getting there. Still some more cleaning to do though. Well, turbo is all clean. Got as much of it as I could. I might hit with some brake cleaner later on. I'm gonna let it air dry out, and then I'll throw some oil in for all the moving parts, for anybody who's concerned about that. Just want to get everything, all the moisture out of it, let it dry. Looks fairly good in there. I'll run some oil through the turbo line and kind of grease up the bearing, well, the journal bearing. I'll throw some spray lube in through each side, so for anybody who's freaking out, we're all good. It's all good. Yeah, so all that I have left to do now is get those other bolts. I haven't torqued this down to spec obviously yet because I want to make sure I got the correct bolts, but it's starting to look a lot cleaner in there. The air piece that I had, way better. Still a little bit of grease on the bottom, but hey, I can read that now. Heat shield, same thing. But it's about all I can do for now, so we'll see if I can get those other bolts and then we'll check back in. Okay guys, I know it's been a little bit, well, you wouldn't know because I'm editing, but I'm not sure where I left things off, so I figured I'd kind of recap. So everything got torn off, all the turbo stuff, basically the whole hot side, because I had a huge exhaust leak, and that was causing me not to make enough boost. I've now got everything back together. I ditched the traditional steel gasket set that normally goes on that. We've got turbo mounted back up. I didn't really change too much. In the process of taking everything apart, I broke some lines for the glow plugs, which I still have to replace. I broke these fittings, which I've now replaced in sterling brass. And yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. So I've got everything back together. I had a crazy issue with no start and realized that the cable that connects my starter up to the little solenoid that sits on top of the starter solenoid, that broke off, so I wasn't actually getting power to the main starter. So now everything is back together. We're gonna get this thing boosting and let's see if we can get this bad boy to run. So it has been way too long. Nice voltage there. Glow plugs are cycling, although I don't have all of them hooked up yet. So let's see what happens. It's not super happy. I might give it a little quick spritz of ether. It's probably just due to the glow plugs not wanting to fire, or because only a couple of the glow plugs are actually firing. So we'll give this a quick spritz. Nothing too crazy. Woo! Getting nice and smoky back in there now. That's probably from all the crap that I had in there. We'll try this again. So close. So close. There's a lot of smoke coming off of there. Come on. I'll cycle those glow plugs once more. It's been a little bit since I've had this thing running, so. so much better. Oh my God. Alright, so now that I'm in full homeless mode, the truck is back up and running. I couldn't be happier. I've got about a month. I'm surprisingly ahead of schedule. I got about a month before the next Top Drift. That's what I wanted this thing up and running for. I'm going to throw the airbox back together, throw the fender well back together. I'll have to take it out and test it and make sure it's making more boost now, because that was my primary concern before, is that it wasn't making boost due to a massive exhaust leak. So I want to let everything sit. I'll check all the tension on everything, make sure that all these manifold bolts are cracked right down, and then I'll be able to take it in for a test run after I put all that stuff back together. But that is it. Hopefully I get a radio in it or something like that, but that'll be for a different video. But anyways, thanks again guys for watching, really appreciate it. Make sure to check out the videos, subscribe, check out Patreon. I've got some cool junkyard video. I went to a junkyard and picked up some parts. I actually picked up this part, but I got to see some cool stuff while I was there. What else? Yeah, that's about it. So thanks again guys for watching. New videos at Mondays and Fridays. Check out the Piston Podcast on Wednesday.